Lucas's birthday party is this Sunday at 2.
Oh, great. I'd love to talk to him. Is he home?
Nope, he's at school.
Oh, okay. Will he be, I wanted to talk to him tonight, on his birthday. Will he be home later?
He should be.
Oh, okay. So you want me to come on Sunday?
Well, I'm just letting you know when his birthday party is. You can do what you want.
What time should I call back to talk to him for his birthday?
Just call this evening, and if we're not here, call back. I don't know.
Can you just tell me a good time, you think?
Oh, it's in the evening. Just call in the evening. If we're not here, just call back.
Never really did get work in customer service. Did get jobs at the prison, though, because she found that when she spoke, people had to be behind bars.
Top of payday. I don't know why I tried to buy one and roll on this one. It's just a nice day. It's Sunday, March 24th, 9 a.m., top of payday. Let's get this day started. Get it started.
Welcome to Hot Roll episode 16. Ooh, this is a little new song I'm working on for you. It's got words, but I'm taking those up right now. These aren't the words. There'll be new words. You'll like the words. They're bad. It's about bad people. They're out there. What are we going to do with them? I need your help. I can't do this alone. Come on. I saw this praying mantis in my yard today. And he needed my help. And he let me know. He just had this sort of, I need your help. And so I gave him some help. It's just what we do. You know, posture of help. It's just such a good posture. But there's still some bad things out there, peeps. I don't know what to tell you, except I do. I have some ideas. On today's show, I want to point these people out. A lot of them have been using this same technique all these years. They haven't been expecting the tape recorder, because it hasn't been around, so they haven't expected it. So all their little devious plans have had to deal with, well, no one will know.
The current time is 9 a.m., all 9 a.m. List of train cars have all clearances and are now open.
Because that's really the best that the human can do. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to try and cover it up. And no one will know.
So crooked.
Nobody will know. You don't want? I think you're in the video. I just, when you tell your kids, your grandkids, I was on Mount Safety when I was a young girl. Today we're on the mountain with my young friend Bree, new this year to the whole mountain safety scene in Utah anyway. She's from another mountain. I think she's a plant. We're not sure. There's going to be more from her. She is my favorite. She really is. She's so cynical. I don't know what she thinks. Maybe it was hard for me to tell. I got hungry. I ate. It's progress. Driving past this Chinese place on the way back. Hey, slow down, people. There's that massive American flag. It's half-mast. And the fly is nearly nipping at the filthy pavement below. And this hot, rising late summer wind somehow is keeping this whole thing aloft. It's huge. And it took a minute. I couldn't think right away why the flag was. And then I remember, that comic. Underrated for sure, but right on point. Batman, Superman, and Spidey all standing there. They're humbled, asking one of our New York FDNY heroes for an autograph. Twin Towers destroyed behind him. And there was a comic recently that shows the Statue of Liberty's arm with her torch. And under it says 2001 United. And the next 2018 panel, there's this uncivilized arm holding a tiki torch with the caption, Divided. I mean, this Trump guy has ruined the manner in which we will never forget
My job is to carry the sign for free.
this new bloodiest day of domestic terrorism in American history. The record holder up until that day, if you didn't know, also happened on the day of 9/11, 1857. It's true. It's not a joke.
Crescent looks ungroomed to you, huh? You're so smart.
And on this day in history, 9/11, people we used to call Mormons participated. They just ditched the Mormon thing recently. They said, don't call us that anymore. They participated in the Mormon, maybe it's because they didn't like the Mormon Mountain Meadows Massacre was coming up.
Last days of the great slowdown.
It is the last days. Thank you. And that happened out there by Cedar City years ago. And up until 2001, it was the most senseless domestic human massacre ever recorded to date. And now that there are no more people who are Mormons,
Well, maybe it's after it's failed.
the
but-
details are sketchy. The last of them erected a monument that, as I recall, just pissed the surviving families off.
If I were lead, I'd be saying, Bree, today I want you taking down those signs, fixing them up while I'm in there doing paperwork.
Because anyone who has blood all over them for this, that thinks they can make a plaque, admit to some wrong, but not directly, then hold an historic ceremony in the wrong place, apparently. Should have done it twice, in the wrong place and the right one, people. Come on. Do it twice. Do it right. And then be done with it. People were mad. There were documentaries made. I mean, they're either still lying about Brother Brigham and what he had to say about letting them pass, or their steadfast commitment to their leader's spirit and will at times like these. Because these guys, days before, were planning on how they went to the extent to dress and look like Native Americans. They convinced this immigration party that the Indians would get them if they didn't have a Mormon escort and a white flag of surrender. Because this party would have taken the Mormons out. That's some nice cattle. When the group of an estimated 150 human beings, men, women, and children, who had just crossed the damn country, the plains, with some, let's face it, some nice cattle. These people used to be called Mormons, and possibly relatives for most anyone, surrounded and killed the 150 surrendered immigrants, point blank. 17 children survived because they premeditated to spare, for God's sakes, the young enough not to remember. Those children who witnessed this pageant of costumes, arrogance, misogyny, and ignorance on both sides, I'm sure, were placed into the homes of the people who shot the backs of their family, their mothers, their fathers, sisters, brothers. They were spared because they wouldn't remember. And they're all seeing God. We'll let this one slip because look at them.
Leaning forward, they're
Fine.
to be
Cattle.
slightly back.
Those oxen?
But does that feel like it's leaning forward into a new future to you? Oh. Okay.
Nice. Oh, some nice titties.
Straight up.
Fortunately for these blank little wonders,
Is it leaning into a new future?
if they keep up with their tithing, because they're now
Well, Boeing.
Mormons that someday will become not Mormons, I guess. Well, they'll also someday get their own planet, like Jesus, who Mormons used to openly talk about how Jesus was once just like you. And over time, you know, he was more highly exalted, as you'd expect. See, people don't carry around cell phones, so people shut right up about this stuff. Feels so truthy, too, doesn't it? My bosom, it can't stop burning. Oh. I mean, to get my own planet someday? Whoa, I'll open a Planet Fitness. First thing. Oh, I guess this particular unhinged group didn't see it that way. And since it was a mere 161 years ago, no one was recording, God was not watching, they marched them into this mountain meadow, and the Mormons massacred them on 9/11, 1857. After an event like this, I expect there's that brief, eerie, silence in an otherwise peaceful meadow, broken by children crying for the horrors of what they have seen that they'll soon forget. People formerly known as Mormons dressed in blood-spattered, bad blackface on makeshift costumes, feeling self-righteous. They have defended themselves once again from the persecution that was surely leading to their deaths. I mean, they were no choice, but it's just the way it went down. It had to seem wrong to the forest creatures watching. These people pretending to be somebody they are not for the sole intent to act with impunity.
I don't mean to be like Oprah. I mean, I thought you were
unrehearsed with our right-hand man JC and dead Joe Prophet watching. Will they buy this ruse too?
And why did you have me make these costumes? Make them extra real?
Now, Vernal.
I know. I heard. They have nice oxen. Feels wrong, Ephraim. Just wrong. There's blood all over this baby. Whose baby is this? You've been gone 3 days. You want to come home with this?
You want to go against God's commandment on this?
God's commandment? God's commandment? You lied to me about what you had me do. Is that God's command? For you to lie?
God's command is your charge on the young. She's yours now. Her name is Emma. I shot her dad and her mother. Tess got the other 2 boys to protect you, Vern. You and the kids.
And the oxen? There's blood on the oxen, too. Get
You're
out.
complaining about a little blood here.
Give me that baby and get out.
I just give them a hard time.
I think that's right. We have a good kinship. I think we have a good kinship, right? I think we all do.
Hello?
Yeah, this is Johanna.
Hang on.
Hey.
Just a sec. This is just devastating what's going on TV.
I need you to know this. I'm glad you're going to call this evening and talk to your son. Other than that, Gib, I do not like you. I do not trust you. I do not respect you. I do not want anything to do with you. You have totally annihilated any amount of little bit of respect and trust I've gained in the past few months. So,
I don't know what I've done to do that. What have I done to do that?
I will see you later. Goodbye.
Negative votes, too.
Voted for myself for president.
My son's birthday is on 9/11,
Stranger things.
a Tuesday
happened.
this
You
year.
did notice who it was.
The New York attacks happened when he was 5 years old. It was also a Tuesday.
Far lesser person. Sad thing.
He spent a good part of his life now listening to strangers tell him how sorry they are for his birthday. Today is Tuesday, 9/11/2018. I can tell you we covered this in the 2112 episode, so I won't invite the rant. He was taken from me and convinced he was a captive when he was able to spend small amounts of time with me. He doesn't communicate with me at all. He won't give me his contact information so that I can contact him. So I don't know where he is. It took some doing to see him on his 4th birthday. He was court ordered to be with me every other birthday, which never happened. I tried, but to this day, the 4th was the only one. His mother allowed it when she knew I was researching doctors about the sexual abuse that happened to him in her care. But when she invites me to birthdays, it's ridiculous. We're clear across the country. She knows that. She's just being mean. To this day, I have no other reason but to love and support my son. I have to be consistent, honest, and available like I always have been. I've got no way to hear from him.
Where are you going?
And, we talked at my father's funeral. We talked about guitars, and then...
Hey, where'd he go?
Nothing. It's just been enough of his birthdays that I sat and waited to be a part of. They just came and went. His 1st birthday. Often his mother would rob him of the chance. He'd suddenly have to be home for his grandma, or, he'd be on the way to get on the plane, and I'd be getting ready to get him, and...
Hi, Johanna. Your son's having some troubles this morning and not wanting to go. He's having a hard time. He's right here just crying, so... Hi, Dad. This is your son, Lucas. Bye. Hi, Dad.
I want the world to know what an awful situation this is. Particularly for my son. His own personal 9/11 and my every effort to make it better.
Now you can see why I don't want to take him on the plane.
I know my short stint through the Mormon's little hay maze ended on 9/11. I left the house early on that Tuesday in 2001. My Mormon wife sent a letter earlier saying she'd be there to collect her things. And I decided, just to be at the pool swimming when all that happened early that Tuesday. We had no idea. The girls at the counter of the pool had the TV on behind them, and they could see I had no idea what was happening, so they tried to clue me in. I couldn't see the pictures or really get what they were saying. And at first, I do remember saying it sounded like that would sound really bad. But I just continued. The doom just got deeper and deeper as I thought more and more about what did she just say happened? And I learned a lesson in confirmation bias. I got in, I started swimming, but I thought it would be my last ever. My last stroke, last breath, last flip turn I ever make. I assumed planes would arrive soon and would be bombing everywhere and I'd be safest in the pool. My Speedo. Who bombs pools? Who bombs guys in Speedos and hey, I'm just doing the breaststroke. Pools are impenetrable, indestructible by at least the cannonball. What are they bombing? Well, when I arrived back home after the best swim ever, hangers are still swinging on the empty bars. I mean, things I hadn't imagined that she would take, like sheets, bedding, nudies she made of herself. I got no copies. It was all a confusing time, but my next step was to make contact with my son. It's his birthday. I'm all about celebrating birthdays.
I don't know what's going on, but just want to talk to you.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
Can you imagine? Thousands of years? People just doing things because they didn't think you had the ability or resources to record them. God's not watching. ball today for the boy, and had this helpful package come in the brain today, I guess. And it's like this: if I sing as low as I can go, it's a C. Do I have perfect pitch? Well, that's a different story. But I can always give you a C if it's your birthday, or if you're in the mood for Amazing Grace. Anyway, if this metaphor works now to say, if I know that same threshold in an endeavor like throwing a ball, right where that is, that hard limit of my ball throwing abilities, then I can gauge where I can throw the ball for my dog, or accurately hit a target, rather than, start with trying to hit a target, just, throwing this ball to hit just some target without having a gauge of, okay, I'm sure we all do that. But a massless being taking a quick look at this infinite pool of light, how can I measure this encounter? Was it a dream? Was it a lucid dream, astral projection, a near-death experience? Or is it, are we parking the Buick? Did I make a mistake? So how do we measure that encounter? And I've decided by including intensity, recall, in words, usefulness. Growing up, we wanted to see ourselves float out of our bodies, astral project over to 7-Eleven. We'd go by each other's houses first and knock on each other's windows like they did in a Stephen King movie, Salem's Lot. Tap on each other's windows, pick up chicks, that kind of thing. Man, I'm lucky to be alive. We would huff model glue, or smoke poppy seeds, or hyperventilate and faint, all to see if we could snag this idea of being a ghost, a living ghost. But what is the point if you can't have something useful come from the sincere attempts to experience what so many others had in books and step-by-step and out of your body in 3 days? Which is great until the 2-day guy comes along. Out of your body in 2 days. What if it's immediate? It was at that time that I started to measure my dreams and report the content. Wake up and write that stuff down. Get it down. I'd write it down. I didn't have a tape recorder then. And I want to measure that limit when I have felt massless. What is a normal state of masslessness? Sure, this is pseudoscience, but we can still spend a little sciencey time with it. I love that music, and I'm going to make it available online. I'm sorry to have to talk over the top of it, but I have to spend a little bit more time in another story. It's a sad story. It's in the news today, and it's eclipsing everything, even millions of people never forgetting. It's the senseless human tragedy that followed in June of 2002. It just had to come up out of Utah, out of the sickest part of the broken Mormon system. It was announced today that Wanda Barzee, age 72, the woman convicted of helping to kidnap and repeatedly rape Elizabeth Smart for 9 months, from June 5th of 2002 to March 12th of 2003. Wanda and her husband are what happens when Latter-day Saints goes currently and horribly wrong. Some of the misogynist dogma can be absolutely empowering to boys, and the most cruel life sentence for girls and a woman. They're born perfectly good babies, we can suppose. They wore cute outfits at one point. They needed to be burped. They cried. I don't even dare look or read up on it. They say that beautiful people are those who are comfortable in their own skin. So I don't know what to say for Wanda. She looks better than ever, and she should really reconsider how great she looks and safe she feels in blaze orange. That's what I have to say about this picture, because at the very least, this town, they'll get her on I-15, where passive-aggressive Latter-day Saints do some of their best work. And they'll take her down at the 7200 South interchange near the Costco. The Saints will dress like Mexicans. But these people that can rise up here in Utah, so many. My childhood home was across the river from where Mark Hoffman left a bomb and blew some people up. I just don't even know if we're going to cover that story ever. Right across the river. I don't know. There's some crazy stuff. And like so many that rise up here in Utah, there are definitely stories they didn't choose for the I'm a Mormon campaign. I mean, here in Utah, they will lethal dose 50 those spots to us like lab rapids at Procter & Gamble in the late 70s. Those spots. And now, I guess they're nothing. I'm a Mormon? Oh, what does that mean? I won the Tourist Railroad account in 99, 2000 with a phone call to Ken, the marketing director there at the time. And anyone who has the keys to the steam locomotive 618 is a friend of mine. But stories, unfortunately, of my father and his role in the early days of the railroad fell on deaf ears at best. This is an entirely new railroad with the exception of the 618. Still, history refers to Papa as a rail enthusiast that asked why they were going to bury this perfectly good steam locomotive in that hole over there. Whatevs. I got the account to do everything, TV and radio. I'd place ads. They'd pay the same rate they were paying, but now the TV and radio stations paid me an agency fee, and I would get them more ads. I would make the ads and deliver them with little bows. They could not. They never had somebody like me. I was ruining their system. We developed holiday attractions that blew the doors down in 2002. And this is immediately post 9/11 society. In 2002, we had the visitors on our trains for the 2002 Winter Olympics and made some headlines with our local news and national news. Honestly, if you saw video promoting Salt Lake City for the Winter Olympics, you saw a feed from my camera perched precariously above the roaring ocean of a crowd. Craig, who climbed to the top of the city-county building, he had a better shot. Way up there. But not very practical. By the way, I'm pretty sure it was he who put the pumpkin up there a few years later. And no one could get it down. There's like a person up on the top. I think it's the blind justice lady, and put the pumpkin on top of her. Or somebody. No, it's so way up there. Craig is just a genius for sport. So he's the kind of guy that would do that, and I know he can climb up there. But he didn't climb up there to take it down. So I really felt connected to all that was going on around me. And this railroad account, it was all that I needed. My whole plan, I had arrived. As summer approached, we had this idea for legal gambling on an Old West style steam train. And in Utah, that's really hard to do. The city hired this fancy big city PR outfit to help the railroad promote this new venture, and sent this absolutely gorgeous woman, Sierra, to work the account. God, she worked the account. They knew. She's the kind of smart that's just so intelligent. I can't speak sometimes. She's so talented, so funny. And like so many in Utah, she's clean like the spring breeze. Radiant blonde hair, searching blue eyes. Really the ultimate modern Mormon archetype. We dressed up all Western, had this wildly successful promotion. You know, people were gambling on a 100-year-old steam train, chugging along the banks of the Deer Creek Reservoir. Our promotion, we did it! We lived like Gatsby or Bonnie and Clyde. It was a dream that had become real, tactile. When you think of what it must have been like, that is what it was like. People loved it. It was so romantic. This fantasy that becomes real, except for the money and the gambling, completely not real. And she and I had these moments together. Our energy was electric. I mean, you can imagine that whole naughty cowgirl thing with forbidden guns. I could never touch guns. My mom was a public school teacher. We were forbidden. We were a forbidden pair, star-crossed lovers. But I'm still a sucker for a good Mormon, still carrying my temple card, along with all of my resentments. I would never work. I didn't care. Her body's a temple. So the oxytocin was raging, but only to leave a set of blue balls on this old cowpoke as the old 618 pulled into the station. And I was handed back the black glove to clear the toilets again, because Gib, you really are the best at it. The next day, I know she works at a coffee place, a barista, near my house. So without shame, I put on my best summer fun guy, no, this is what I normally wear outfit. She was working, it appeared, intently with the customer. So I stood so that when she finished, she would gracefully turn with the birds. And on three, there I would be, and we would restart our wild Western romance. This time I brought my loaded gun, about 100 million rounds. But when she turned, the moment goes super dark for me. Super dark. And it does for us all. She probably looked straight at me, turned back away with zero recognition. So I probably awkwardly slithered up and howdy, ma'am'd her. She says to me, searching my eyes, if I knew anything or heard, last night my 14-year-old cousin was kidnapped, abducted, taken from her room while she slept by someone we don't know. Sierra's last name is Smart. And she handed me a flyer for her cousin, Elizabeth Smart, who, by the way, is a perfect younger duplicate of Sierra, much younger. But that same tenacious intelligence and exceptional beauty. Now, I spent the day making copies and distributing stacks to people and charging strangers with the call by just staring them down and handing them the stack. I'll cry. And waiting until they got the message. I would just hand the stack to them. They would just be strangers. And I would hand them a stack. And wait until they took that stack with the message. And they would. I couldn't speak or do anything else. I had no idea this is a worldwide spectacle or what this would come. And I'm taking no credit for ever finding her. I just did what I felt I needed to do. Wow, I love this girl. I wanted to go on a date with this girl. Let's be honest. And And until the stranger started reaching out for the flyers and knowing what they were, I just kept going. You know, nope, you want to take this girl on a date? You thought Jackie was a handful. You find this girl's cousin by 5 and you will be in the celestial kingdom by 9. Well, the next morning came without news or hope. And immediately I became the agency's, I guess, private videographer. I produced and distributed video until she was found. Spoiler alert, she was found. If you saw video, it came from my edit bay. And that's why I have her harp music. There was a time when we all went into deep mourning and tried to find her. Create a place where she could speak to us from somewhere. Or from where she is. Somehow. Just somehow, so we can all get peace and sanity. Just make this exception. The whole world wants this. If we just meditate on this. Where is she? Without reservation, without any restrictions, we need the universe to open up an emergency channel so we know where she is. Her family entrusted me with everything they had of her. Video and old tapes of her rehearsing. The whole family. What it must have sounded like just hours, minutes before these people came into their heaven on earth. Just tore right in through the window. We know she's alive. The family would curiously insist, like they had information that they knew. But that wasn't the story on the outside. So make us a video that celebrates her. Just for us. Just for this gathering. Are you kidding me? I've already started. It was already a masterpiece in my mind. I knew I could find her. I had this raw look now into her personal psyche. I mean, clearly I had been divinely appointed, and I took it as my calling. But you can imagine someone understanding enough, like about telephones, but not enough that they just shout at the phone, Siri, call Elizabeth Smart. And the phone just never says it's not possible. It just sits there. I couldn't feel she was there. I wanted to have her ghost visit me. If I had to believe in ghosts, fine. But until I know, I don't know. Okay, theories aren't working here. And I will get her home so fast they'll think I did this. Wait, never mind. Well, anyway, honestly, it was without reservation. And sure, the public's attention shot right to Dad, Ed Smart. It was likely he knew something. He must. Now, this family, this crisis, from the inside looking out, her siblings, the witnesses who accurately represented who, and what happened. In hindsight, there was a compelling piece of video from the Smart family trip where Elizabeth was camping and playing on rocks. And there's this moment where she's sitting by the campfire, as she would in her captive state, and she turns and looks but softly says hi. Hi. Makeshift campground. If video ever speaks to me this way again, that will not go unnoticed. But it was definitely haunting. And the reality was, until there was conclusive proof, all theories are out that would call off the search, especially. We were bound and determined to find her with the whole world at our side. We couldn't find her in our dreams. Why couldn't we find her in our dreams? Collectively, why wouldn't God just let us have just a peek, just a miracle? The narrative of truth was they couldn't have gone more than a certain radius. It was impossible. They were told that from the start. And who they were looking for, who and where, still uncertain. And they didn't find her. Everybody from here to Ecuador. I saw flyers in Ecuador at the end of 2002. Missed it. They camped not far from the Smarts' Federal Heights home. Wanda and her husband, this new Mormon prophet that he thought of himself, he just felt entitled, as his ancestors had, to be an absolute monster to this innocent child. They're letting Wanda and her repentant smile under her broken fat face go. A father lost his life for this. And Elizabeth is not in an enviable position. She's made lemonade. She's been a spokesperson for what a true woman should look like in this day and age. She's empowering everybody, including me. We might just live in an age now where Elizabeth Smart has a show on one of these desperate TV networks and the Wanda show on another. I worked with Sierra throughout those years. Can't remember a single other encounter. That spaghetti between us is just a cartoon. We never looked back. We never had regrets. It was clear to me why the universe got me all dressed up and at her feet. I've stopped considering it a coincidence when I set out each day to get engaged in this sort of authentic, altruistic endeavor with one goal and no strings attached. I love these women, the Smart families, truly good people. I hope to never bring them any grief. I've waited, I've held it. They've put out numerous books, TV shows, documentaries. And I've waited, and now here you go. It's out. It took 9 months in a worldwide effort until someone saw how odd this looks. They said, "Hey, that is not right," or "Hey, that's Elizabeth. I need to get a selfie." Nature compelled this stranger through truth alone to take a risk. That stranger and Sierra now have a nice life together, and I'm sure, that agency she was with, Intrepid, they immediately stole the railroad account from me, got rid of Ken, and the railroad hasn't done well. Everyone's gone. 618's been down. The guy with the keys, I'm nice to him. So I think that's it. I'm the only person that's nice to him. I've never met Elizabeth, but under the circumstances might understand why I'm playing some of this harp music today. Could be anyone. I have no opinion on the wheels of justice today. Wanda is a classic victim of Joe Smith's lies, and Elizabeth and the Smart family are angels of his truth. Her whole life predisposed to failure, a symptom of a far greater problem, that occurs when people consume a lifetime of bullshit. So, also, let's not forget the man who was killed when taken to jail for this crime he did not commit. He was repeatedly kicked in the head until an aneurysm burst his ability to be a father. This guy lost his life over this. He helped the Smart family one day. They helped him. Who knows? He may have been their old video guy. But folks, if I'm tenacious, if I deliver, it's because sometimes I have to deliver. So, I can deliver. And last week, it wasn't a lost child. It was a final couple of thoughts to wrap up, oh, you know, the unified theory of everything. The model of one, anyway. The model of the model that everybody has been searching for. I found it. It's okay. You guys can all go back to your quantum lattes. Complete with predictions that can be tested, useful things that can become of all this talk on the ski lift. Well, someone has to wrap a whole book or division of school around this. I don't like books or anything that can be summed up. I get we have to wait sometimes, but I can be lazy, so I only want to expend the energy on the best stuff. I am a messenger first and foremost. Navigating sometimes before I can communicate this simple message. The fudge factor would be in the neighborhood of when our observable universe is about 6 drops of something, I guess carbon, on an organic planet similar to Earth. Self-similar.
Why not?
One could step over our entire universe and baffle the limits of light and time, unless there is a new dimension of time related or the same. To this fudge factor that makes our galactic years look more like fractions of a second. So, for our frame of reference, the fudge factor would still check out. And if someone were to step over us, the heel of that shoe, if we could look up and see it, oh, Buster Brown, would still follow our laws. And it would take, the appropriate amount of time for it to traverse. That's my message today. I'm just the messenger. I'm not a math, philosophy guy. I'm out of my industry for sure. But I'm not out of my industry for sure. What's skiing? Skiing is physics. What's audio? Editing, waveforms, video, light forms. Part 3. But today I'm a messenger.
Top of payday.
And I am where I have been placed with what I have to say. And I can tell you what I've been told to do. Or I'm strongly compelled to create, and more specifically, create for each day. Pack the day into the creation. You are listening to sometimes anywhere between 3 and 7 million daily creations a second, sometimes here. All packed with memory and emotion about something that is near my heart. Give some value here, and I've been charged to help and not injure others, especially those who suffer or who are trapped or can easily be unlocked with these 3 simple steps. If some of us can take this information and do something with it, That is the goal. And yes, it will give the whole thing legitimacy. Like cryptocurrency. Legitimacy gives it legitimacy. Those are things to chew on, consider, test, look for useful things. But this episode was supposed to deliver an F factor for time. Well, right now we take everything at face value. There's no conversion. And so our result is that it appears different. Well, what would you have to do if the earth were in the palm of your hand to listen to all of our 20th century broadcasts? What would that wave look like, sound like? Where would it be? And what do you have to do to decode it?
It gone? I've looked everywhere, it's just gone. I've looked over here, I've looked over there, I've looked everywhere, it's just gone. I looked over here, I've looked over there, I've looked everywhere, where the hell it's gone.
As a video guy, my shorthand is Command J. Will bring up my time adjustment window, and I can slow things down. Independent of pitch, I can split those two things apart. The pitch and the time that it takes, the sound and that's the F factor. My computer doesn't do 13.8 billion factors. I actually think it's been done somewhere out there. There will be an obvious sweet spot, so test it. Here's today's headline. Another one. Medical cannabis provides immediate symptom relief across dozens of, here's another one. Astronomers have detected 72 new mystery fast radio bursts, FRBs. It's too hard to say all that all the time. Command J, you tell me the value. I have in a scrapbook somewhere a discussion that started when a teacher raises a concern about me when I was preschool aged. And so here it is from September 8th, 1972. It's written in the most beautiful cursive writing in pencil, beautifully straight, on this 5x7 card. Dear Jean, my mom. Today, Gibb said his eyes kept flashing. It seemed to bother him. Also, just out of interest, I expected him to be rather dominating in his play. And he chose the shyish child and played just beautifully with him and made Craig feel so important. He was really special with him. And I feel he is really going to be worth a gold mine to me in my relationship with other children. He'll be my forerunner. Thanks for sharing him, Kit. I cried the first time I read it. I'm just proud I made it through. I know what that is now, and now how the adults in my life would have responded. This show is the last I have to say about it. You would be right to say I've molded my life around the phenomenon, or that it came to be because of my own hindsight and ability to make a migraine, to some, I guess, be a convenient new religion to solve headaches. But if something works, I just don't care. Nobody does. To say it is all nonsense is not a working model I can use. The message has been clear for some time. Trust me, there are more journal entries. My fear, lack of the ability to make this message not about me has kept me from doing anything. If that makes any sense. If it does any good. If not, well, good. Either way, we're off to better places anyway. And that's my pamphlet-sized message. For what surely needs more than a book someday. Like a pop-up book with holograms using the ghost effect of Pepper's ghost. So right there you have it. All of a sudden, is this $1 million idea. God, I love them. You just saw the birth of it. All that meandering it took to understand there needs to be a pop-up book for kids that uses the Pepper's ghost effect to explain the cosmos to 4-year-olds. OMG. BRB. I've gone on a recent field trip. We have gone places to make the show the best it can be. Protests at the Mormon Temple. By now, Sam Young is super hungry. And the high mo's are saying what they said. No further input is needed from Mr. Young. And off the bat, I thought food was needed further input, but that is now up to Mr. Young and his nutritionist and camera operator. As I've said, if it were a tire manufacturer, a school for the headless people among us, Best Buy, any business that doesn't just call 911 when it involves crime and life-threatening situations. If there's some exception when it involves girls and rape, it's going to raise flags.
What's that? Oh, good morning.
People bring that to the attention of other humans in a position to help other humans for decades now.
That must have been a great run.
I mean, you can see how they have their conveyors set up to process their people. Particularly girls, young girls, children. I don't care if you're running the center of families and children.
Yeah. It probably does change a little bit.
If there are outright systemic pathways toward the possibility of the desecration of a child's innocence, then I can see how just a little of my effort can save a life. If one is spared from this,
right?
You can see that this has some value.
Well, maybe.
Nothing's impossible. We want an audience here. We can put a stadium. That is a good area.
By the way, the CEO for the Center for Families and Children absolutely accosted me on the slopes here. I wouldn't tell you about anyone else, but when I approached her about the risks she was taking, she went bonkers. No one has ever talked to me like this. She asked me why I was shaking at one point. My God, I was. I don't shake, tremble. What is this? I told her with her friend standing right there. She blew past a slow sign and a boy who had crashed just out of her periphery. She was upset because she knew she was the CEO of this place and almost sliced a kid's head off with her rental rosignals, or I guess head skis. I think she said, "Why would I have to care about a little boy on the ground?" I lost my filter and compassion for monsters in our society right then and there. I honestly did. I don't know who she was, but she was on a mission to completely make me reconsider safety as a personal value if it is just going to make me be unsafe. So she refuses to tell me who she is. We go through this whole dance. That guy right over there can scan you, Jim Scanner. Well, I'm never skiing here again, she says. Well, it was a pretty big place. I had to look her up after all this. Elizabeth, new woman, we'll call her. This is the person that in my whole life, this is the person who I knew had to exist, but I never met. Done so much good, she deserves to yell at the waiter from time to time. Why are you shaking? I shook the rest of the day. Cried like a baby to my wife when I got home because I felt myself make an exception. I felt myself going for the hammer. Felt my faith in humanity vaporize. But, we have time. She's still there, looking confident as ever in her bio that her leadership is helping children and families, except for those on the ground. You okay?
My wife's still sitting down up there.
Right, let me help, yeah. I don't see a lot of people walking up. What's she wearing? Oh, in a white jacket. I'm an equal opportunity protester. People think that this guy won't do anything. What's he gonna do? What is he, recording? I call my bank now. Whoever gets on the phone, I tell them, quit your job. Telemarketers,
In the middle
same
of the
thing.
hill? Can you call her? Does it look like that person's okay?
I'll call this place one day and tell the
I
receptionist
can get
what I
somebody
experienced
to them right away.
with Ms. New Woman. Truth is like water. It will exploit these
She's
holes
just helping somebody. Oh, she's so nice.
and weaknesses of the vessels built of the flesh. And this is a battle that has been raging for some time between good and bad.
Well, let us know if we can help.
I don't support the bad side anymore. I will have no grace or show no quarter for those who are willfully crushing flowers as they carelessly slither to their next dose. So I went on a field trip to better understand this time the concept of astral projection, near-death experiences, and lucid dreaming. I lurked the chat rooms. I chatted up the posers and folks that had authentic questions. I read what I could. I've heard podcasts that read the Wikipedia article. Since I'm researching the topic, it's usually pretty fresh in my mind. So the only thing that seems, current or useful here today from the Wikipedia article is that it's a pseudoscience. Total bullshit. But there are these people encountering furry, feathery monsters and sleep paralysis.
3 Kings Patrol, dispatch.
3 Kings Patrol.
And when you hop to this thread from something like lawnmower repair, you can just see all of these.
We have a ski instructor reported collision at the bottom of Home Run below the Coaster Bridge. She just wants help with paperwork and to check to make sure everyone is okay. The contact is Melanie. This is the name of the ski instructor.
You can just see all of these larger narratives of loneliness and validation. It is such a struggle for internet points and popularity. People will bear it all in this day and age. Become the definitive expert. And for what? You can tell those points didn't come cheap for me either. All right, here's one of my entries that will surely dox me. I see it as a visit to light, where everything is happening now, but time does not pass.
What would happen?
I encounter energy that I select out, like soloing a track on a console recording an orchestra. Can you tell me if your experience is similar, or do you see attributes like hair? There are sketchy narratives that stab through the energy to define it also, if that's helpful. Is it possible these are clues you've left yourself to better understand what you've experienced?
Hi, guys.
We are visiting a theater of eternal light with our brains that think with light. No one goes anywhere. Life and death are all the same in terms of where we are in the light. We're not set up to record infinity with constraints of time still on our lives. I'm going to nutshell this again because baby is about to wake up. So if a model is working for someone, you can't call it bullshit. My search for people like me, migraine sufferers usually, head injury, alcoholics, addicts, musicians, artists, a near-death experience folks. Their stories resonate with this thing that came to me. They're flashes. I called them as a boy. Now I can only imagine.
Control will come along. First of all, are you hurt? Are you injured? Are you in pain? Yes.
Fuck.
Can you tell me about that?
I have to cry. It shows me intermittent blasts of convoluted visual emotion, like the main video feed. Coaxial lines are getting crossed between dreams and reality. I'm well grounded, but it's well beyond my control. It's recognizable to me as the same place where I am when I ski, when I guitar solo, listen to Mozart. It's always there on tap, day or night, plug and play. But is it? During my meth months, that I know I must have occurred during the fall when I was 4, and then again in my early 20s. It was all inseparably accompanied by tooth pain.
We have other people in our group, but he was.
And as an esoteric factoid, I think of these like the pentatonic harmonic progression of overtones within a single note.
All right. So
If that helps.
I'm fine, right?
you can go ahead and kick off if you want. And
But I have to skip the detail. It's a hard spaghetti noodle to measure. Since I have my own prevention going on, my DIY walls up, and protocol when they occur. Most notably,
okay. So
we roll tape immediately. We hot roll. And I will navigate and try to communicate. But as I said, it has been some time, and I don't recall these like a normal memory. It's completely absorbing. And when you stand too fast, like you can get a head rush and you feel like you might go down and start looking for a place to land. It's similar to that kind of more familiar scene that we have. There's some control to look around and observe. Still remains those journal entries, and modern tech has allowed me to start better understanding the phenomenon, tracking it and measuring the pseudoscience. I'm not really actually measuring it. And if philosophy is dead, killed by, I guess it's hairy brother science, and science says it is too hairy to measure. I mean, you say energy cannot be destroyed, then where is it? Where did it go? Every light that ever burned, every candle, every wick, every human brain, every erected lighthouse. Where the hell did it go? The center of everything? Somewhere just swirling around so fast? Dissipated? Somewhere. just swirling around so fast now is everywhere. And any time is Miller time, folks. If there's ever been a time to crack a cold one, it's a cruel joke when I'm abandoned in a dark, untethered dimension, feeling my way around with no way to know how far I can throw a ball. If deeper is better or a fatal mistake. Knowing I feel put here like a chicken with an expectation out there for me to lay an egg. And yes, perhaps it's my warped perception of reality after a super bad Mormon tabernacle performance. There were tears. I wrote songs about astral projection and knew it couldn't hurt. I guess everywhere there's just a lot of bullshit. And I am, as a result, a super good bullshit detector. I'll tell you right now, the easiest way to detect a lie without turning it into a book or a 90-minute TED Talk, if someone is talking, the bullshit flag is up. Okay? If they continue talking, I know how ironic this is. If the talking continues, so too the shit from the bull. Details, bull, accommodations, shit. Look at where a person's narrative meets reality and how they handle the merge. People act. Acting is lying. If a person is a good liar, they're a good actor. They get into it. They make money at it. The rest of us, we suck at acting. The people who make a living as a director, they can tell. There you go. I'll be signing 3x5 cards of this concept in the lobby. My reality comes along and butts up against, yep, we know, and it's not real. We've heard about your reality. We've heard about your flashing and all this. It's not real. It's pseudoscience. Drink less, sleep more, try meth, Ritalin. Nope, whoops, don't, actually. Well, let's try a different school. So, scientists giving a cold shoulder to this one, I guess, till someone could come back with pictures. Everyone is calling me weird. Hey, I'm a middle child. I'm trying to get along, and I always say, what is normal? Shuts people down. So, two of my closest friends, Chris Williams, ever since the beginning with Chris, as you know, from a previous episode, and another friend, close, we may talk about, but he's super grumpy. Both of them were near-death experience survivors. I didn't choose them. We chose each other in this universe. Dreams were too vivid for me, but I still wrote it down. All of those spiral notebooks that start in 1983 and spanned, 2007. All these disjointed adjectives, flashes, glimpses. I'm fine with all the descriptions I hear from folks. There just doesn't seem to be an interpretation. The people who are close to me, my wife, family, and particularly people who are significant, it is if I know. I can see them in the now each night and know I can find them. I see them differently, and they have a power over me. They don't understand it either. Chris, when he was electrocuted and near death, he did not come to me during his electrocution. Nor did he, or anyone for that matter. I just know, like a musician, when we are synced, he and others. I expect others are like this too. But they are constructs of my own vivid imagination to create a model that works for me to solve the problems I need to solve in the reality that's around me. They deny it every time I get a chance to look at them, so I don't say anything. They know when I'm probing, looking real deep. You know, like when you can feel someone, like somebody's watching. Yeah, we all have that. From hide and seek, I guess. Eye contact would bust me every time. So I would close my eyes and just cover them. Never be discovered. I was really good at hide and seek. I'd come out and the game would be over. Oh, okay, sorry. So there are some old narratives that never quite matured for me, and I recognize those. And for me now, with a spouse sleeping next to me, I know we're also bound in the light. That's what marriage is. The harmony of those two experiences. We can see them in the light and know if they're cheating or plotting or lying, would love us deeply. But we're helpless the next day. They're trying to kill us and the act starts and the curtain falls on any memories of the impending doom completely. There's no communication channel. That's why it's a tragedy if I go to bed angry. Or worse, she said she had sex with her boss in a dream last night. Okay, well, that's a little... There's just no reason for me to make this up. I mean, to be funny and entertaining, and but it's... but as I've said, it is all made up. The reason I feel like this is that I've lost sync with my dad and others, and particularly Papa. He passed away. And I'm also noticeably losing sync with others. Protesting, holding them accountable. Nothing. Slippage. Just slipping away faster than I can protest. And we've talked about the slippage. Fortunately, there have been some serious gain, on the other side. So I consider ballast. So my message is not as old as I have been promoting it on the internet. You can call it what you like. Trust me, you won't think through all that I have on this unless you do. It can't be downloaded. I can't sell it. I can only record what is happening when it's happening. I measure solely by recall and I guess intensity, emotional intensity manifested in, yes, paralysis, speech impairment, tremors sometimes, but more from what I can capture from the session and align with my own reality. The clues are strewn about like breadcrumbs and line up like parts in a song. You hear them in the show all the time. I leave them so you can be like, wow, that was a coincidence. I intentionally knock over and over again. And if you call me, I'll call you back until you tell me the truth about why you called. Who are you? But my message is, I have yet to say anything more useful. And God help me if there's someone out there right now going, boy, I sure feel sorry for this guy with his tumor pressing up against his hippocampus. With all due respect to, obviously I hope that's not the case. But I have yet to see someone publicly go before me. I was never first to approach a woman or, the new neighbors. I'd observe. It's part of what, I do to not get shot down. And yeah, I'm freaked out about having this out there. But even more about keeping it in. And so with technology as my shield, the rest is the first commandment. If you think about it, you fill in the blanks. If you don't believe in JC, love the Lord God with all your heart, mind, strength, and soul. It's that simple. Some of you might say it differently, but basically, if you pray for strength and wisdom and an air of gratitude, and you will be in direct communication with the creator of all things. Anytime, anywhere. The rituals. When that is happening in your life, and it is not abusive and hurtful, and that is happening, that is the conversation. What it feels like. But like TV, it's flat, and we cannot record. Or at least we thought we couldn't. Until now. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Hot Roll. The views expressed on this program do not reflect the views of this station or anyone apparently on this planet, so it is all fictitious, completely without meaning or harm to anyone or anything, including the Big Bang. Also today, messages of Jesus wasn't because he was watching and keeping tabs, it's because your light is public information. Look deep, like Nancy Drew, into the nuggets you have left for your own personal recall. And don't tell anyone about some of your dreams, unless they can help you find the truth in them. And I want you to be safe out there.